everybody now seems to have like this accentuated problem, or that they've had this warlike past that somehow has forged them into this great sage-like advice. And it really pisses me off because, all the problems in my life that I've had helped me become the person who I am. But I had problems. That doesn't mean I'm a great person. It means I fucked up. It means I made bad choices. And through bad choices, they truly did teach me how to repair those things and teach me lessons that I don't see other people have learned them. But that all being said, it started off with fucking up. And one of the things that I just cannot stand, and is very personal to me, is now, like every other life coach, every other person out there says, oh man, I struggled with addiction. It was such a battle. It was such a huge thing. Man, look, I'll tell you this, man. I have tortured my life for years with drugs, with alcohol, and really fucked up levels in big ways. Started out when I was 15. By the time I was 17, I was ODing and all that sort of stuff. Got clean for a little bit, relapsed, fucked up my life, made it worse. Had a whole cascade of shit follow me and build that all the way from like 20 all the way to 30. And man, it was a horrible mess. It was a terrible thing. But the thing about this is, and especially when people come up and if I make some announcement about a celebration that I'm having within it and they say, man, thank you so much for doing that. Man, you're fucking thanking me for walking out of a burning building. You're thanking me for doing something that I had to do. If I didn't do that, it would kill me. And at the same time, I didn't realize I was hurting and killing other people or having these extreme problems come of it and affecting other people's lives. This is something that is not cool. All right. And something that is very also personal to me about that, the recovery process, is that it shouldn't get adoration. Now, no doubt, one of the most influential things in my life that's taught me so many different things, that helped me build a business, that helped me build an ability to work with people, had to do with the processes that I did in order to, be a sane or somewhat sane, functioning human being after living on an animal level. But see, the thing is that we hear this over and over again. It's like, oh man, I've struggled with addiction, or I've beat addiction, or all these different things. Man, let me tell you the reality of these things, right? I personally, I believe addiction is a disease. You can debate that back and forth. But me saying that, I do not believe that you're a victim because of it. I do not believe that if you have developed a drug problem, a sex problem, or whatever it is, or your addiction has found its way into gambling or eating or anything like that, that you have an excuse to say that you can skate on anything. Nothing is easier because of that. In fact, you'll have to work harder. You'll have to stop that. You'll have to learn a new way of life. You'll have to change your friends and all the different aspects of you. But goddamn, man, like it is something that you have to deal with. And if you have dealt with it, it doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you a greater person. And see, I think this is one of those things, man, is that everybody is so lacking of an identity. Nobody has anything to latch onto. Being a man, being a woman gets so confusing because we live in this world of social media and bragging and people liking us and they don't know us. So they have to like us from afar and how flashy we are and all those certain things because we don't have a conversation with the person in front of us. We don't have a connection with people in front of us. We don't learn to have relationships with people right there in real time. And we learn to have relationships with whatever adoration and all these other things, is that we're all dying for a way to feel special. We're all dying for a way that somebody can go, man, look at me. I'm unique. I'm a fucking individual. And the saddest part about that is if you fucking looked at yourself, if you actually looked at who you are, if you really examined who you are, man, and found that, and then put it out there and talked to somebody, built a relationship, built a connection, maybe you got in touch with your body. Maybe you started working out. Maybe you started dieting. Maybe you started doing yoga. Maybe you started doing something where you could get what a real expression of you was. You wouldn't fucking have to worry about talking about how you had a bad past, or I had a shitty childhood, and I had, these certain things happened to me, when I was 18, it's something that happened to me, my first sexual experience, it sucked, man. This sucked. And to me, it's not a big deal about my life, but it's a part of my story, right? Is that, my girlfriend that I was going out with, she got kidnapped, she got assaulted. It was this really torturous experience. It was horrible for us to go through it, and it was painful. But that does not give me a buy on anything. If that is a part of my story, that's a part of my expression. That is a part of me sharing with you. That is just as important as me walking my dogs earlier today, or spending time with my son, or working in my garden going, man, why can't I get these pests to stop eating my kale? You know, what I need to realize and what everybody needs to realize out there is start being yourself. Start realizing what that is. That isn't an icon. That isn't feminism. That isn't who's going to win for president. That isn't, you know, your job. But what makes you so fucking special is how all of these things interact. And what is infinitely a more special and powerful moment is that moment that you have where interacting with another human being or another thing, man, it could even be with nature, talks back to you and it changes you. This is a true story, man. True story. There's all this shit where people get, upset with a lot of different venues of recovery. And there's so many different ways. If you have a drug problem or if you have an eating addiction, there's so many different ways to handle it. I'm not going to say one's better than the other, but the one that I chose, everybody's always like, but it's so culty and it talks about God and all these different things. This was so important. I remember when I was 18 years old. All right. And I heard this guy speak and he was talking about this whole higher power thing, about believing in something more than himself. And this has shaped absolutely my business, my life, how I preach and teach, all the different social dynamic stuff that I do, is that he said, man, I hate the idea of God. I hate the idea of religion. I have so much resentment about it. Churches suck. Spirituality sucks. And so what I realized is if I talk to one other human being, I'm the most stubborn person in the world. I'm fucked up. I was dysfunctional as fuck. And it was a time where he was stuck in a bad part of his life, right? Where he was using whatever. And in some way, I forget the particulars of it. But he said, when I talked to another human being that had compassion, that could relate with me, that could share what I felt, and that I actually believed that he had experienced certain things the same as me, that changed me. And nothing didn't change me like that in my life. And that was good enough for a power greater than myself. That was good enough to have a spiritual experience. And for years, all the way down the road, and I didn't really start TSL until I was 29, but all the way till I was 29 years old. So 11 years later, still the same thing. You want to have an experience where you can change, where you can change the world inside of you in shit that is so stubborn, shit that won't move, shit that might be broken and can't even function on its own. Man, go out, connect with somebody else, be honest, share what your feelings are. And this magic thing happens when somebody else kind of has walked that path too. It's not going to be the same because everybody's different. And when you share that and you connect with that, that's where the special thing happens. You plus the organicness of the world around you, man, that is what makes that spiritual experience. Stop trying to be special, man. Stop trying to need some sort of title to make you a better fucking person, right? Start being yourself and connecting with the world.